看一下这北京地铁站。
Look at this Beijing subway station. So many empty seats. At 5 yuan a rider, each trip must be wasting thousands of yuan.
其实无锡的地铁，我猜
Honestly, Wuxi's metro is probably losing money too. It's about 7:30 p.m. now. This is Taihu Square Station on Wuxi Line 1. There aren't many people, hardly any passengers.
Some online observers in China have noted that in May 2025, trains at Harbin's Haxi Metro Station were converted to dedicated services, indicating a sharp drop in passenger volume. Recent videos show China's metro systems, once the modern city's steel arteries, carrying fewer riders and draining municipal finances. In May this year, Shenzhen Metro Group published its 2024 financial report, revealing a loss of 33.5 billion yuan, about $4.6 billion US dollars, equal to 10.5% of its year-end net assets. That loss equates to burning 91.8 million yuan daily and losing 63,700 yuan each minute. The 27 billion yuan of accumulated profits from the past 5 years vanished in 1 year, with an extra 6 billion yuan in losses, setting a record for the largest deficit in China's urban rail history. Shenzhen Metro was once the industry profit king. In 2019, it earned 11.7 billion yuan, surpassing Beijing Metro's ticket revenue, and generated 27.3 billion yuan in profits over the next 5 years. In 2024, its losses exceeded those 5 years of profit, averaging nearly 100 million yuan per day. Beijing Metro also posted losses of 24 billion yuan in 1 year, about 3.3 billion US dollars. Beyond Beijing and Shenzhen, metro losses across China are even more alarming. In Hangzhou, Chongqing, and Zhengzhou, annual deficit reached 7 to 8 billion yuan. A few cities such as Wuhan, Jian, Shanghai, and Changzhou do report profits, but not because they run better operations. Their gain stems from special geographic, economic, or policy advantages. In Shanghai, dense populations and high passenger volumes drive ticket revenue. In Changzhou, short, low-cost lines yield slim margins. Even so, those profits barely offset losses in other cities. In an interview with Radio Free Asia, Ms. Guo, a supplier contact in Shanghai, said more than 28 cities operate metros at a loss. She compared metro finances to high-speed rail. Most lines run deficits, and losses depend on government subsidies. She said, metros pretty much never make money. Shanghai's systems run at a loss, and so does Beijing's. High-speed rails is the same. Only about 6 lines, like the Beijing-Shanghai route, actually turn a profit. The rest all run at a loss. I know a bunch of friends who used to supply the metro, but they're all pulled out. Despite massive losses, new metro projects still proceed. Chengdu's 5th phase, 2024 to 2029, covers 10 projects totaling about 200 kilometers and was accepted by national authorities in October. Suzhou's 4th phase, 2025 to 2030, has completed environmental and social stability assessments. Guangzhou plans 8 lines spanning 176 kilometers with an estimated 172 billion yuan investment now under provincial review. Ms. Guo warned that not all planned projects will win approval. Building cities' metro lines take huge investments and a long time to break even. With single fares of just a few yuan, you can't cover construction cost of 5 to 600 million, or even a billion, yuan per kilometer. Under local government's fiscal pressure, many of these projects may never get approved. Reports indicate that Chongqing Rail's network is also expanding rapidly. Lines 1 through 6 and the loop lines are fully operational. Construction on Line 7 and Phase 1 of Line 17 is progressing steadily. Chongqing is also accelerating development of suburban railway with intercity lines like Yongchuan, Nanchuan, Dazhu, and Qijiang advancing steadily. However, public opinion remains skeptical.
Chongqing's rail network is really odd. On one hand, officials say they're in deep deficit and plan fare hikes, from 2 yuan to 3, then 3 to 4. The increases aren't huge, but over time they add up. On the other hand, they're set to build over 10 more lines in the next 10 years, boosting mileage past 1,300 kilometers. They're already losing money on the existing 500 kilometers. Doubling it will only deepen losses. Another glaring problem is stations built in empty rural areas. They've extended the metro into U-based countryside while skipping dense hubs like Lijiatuo. With planning like that, losses are guaranteed.
Diversified revenue measures such as advertising and property development have yielded limited results against strained local budgets and a sluggish real estate market. This trend has heightened local debt risk. So why are China's metro losing so heavily? Reports show the reason lie in high cost and inefficient operations. In megacities like Beijing and Chengdu, underground lines cost over 1 billion yuan per kilometer. These funds typically come from local government borrowing, creating heavy repayment burdens. Building metros in China resembles constructing gilded palaces, impressive on the surface but buried under debt. Metro construction costs are extraordinarily high, but operating expenses are even more striking. Annual operating costs for Chinese metros range from 11 million to 50 million yuan per kilometer, mainly spent on labor, maintenance, energy, and equipment upkeep. Beijing Metro's Line 16 cost up to 1.2 billion yuan per kilometer, earning it the label Sky High Project. Data shows that in 2024, operating costs averaged 14.3 yuan per passenger, far above the fare revenue. This means the government subsidizes every passenger's ride. Deeper causes of metro losses stem from systemic issues. Metro projects in China are often launched for political reasons rather than actual demand. Over the past 2 decades, the local government have focused on pursuing prestige projects using metro to showcase modernization. Officials have spent heavily on metros and light rail without carefully planning and thorough evaluation at the approval stage. Meanwhile, many second and third-tier cities have blindly built metros beyond their economic capacity and ridership needs. Some lines serve remote areas with almost no surrounding housing, becoming leaders' dreams and taxpayers' nightmares. Commentator Zhang Jianping from Jiangsu said that metros reflect systemic flaws. He noted oversupplied buses and high car ownership, and that metro problems stem from the current system. Mr. Sun, a retiree from Guangzhou, said most Chinese metros run losses every year, even with the government subsidies, and this has worsened since the pandemic. He said private companies might avoid losing money, but in China, operating costs are so high, and even monopolies, who are basically robbing money, also run at a loss. Metros and high-speed rail running at a loss is completely normal. Even highway toll booths lose money, often mixed with corruption. As long as it's state-owned enterprise, it always ends up losing money in the end. At the same time, opaque decision-making and concentrated power also affect metro revenues. Construction and operation are controlled by state enterprises and government agencies with little public involvement. This top-down model not only drives up cost but also normalizes corruption and inefficiency. Many tenders lack open competition, inflating prices. During Changzhou Metro Lines 1 and 2 construction, Xia Yongjun, former party secretary and chairman of the city's rail development company, along with associates, manipulated bids through inflated quantities, inflated quotas, and family-style profit transfers. Disciplinary authorities confirmed over 103 million yuan in illicit funds, and those responsible were referred for prosecution. Beijing resident Guo Lishuo noted that during off-peak hours, many metro cars carry only 2 or 3 passengers in cities like Guangzhou and Shanghai. Such waste of resources, combined with steep ridership declines and reduced tourism, ensures persistent losses in Beijing, Shanghai, and other cities. Frequent design changes driven by leadership will have repeatedly driven up cost. Some lines were routed to showcase officials' achievements rather than serve residents. Chengdu Metro's Line 18 Phase 3 spans about 14.3 kilometers underground at a total investment of 14.7 billion yuan, roughly 1 billion yuan per kilometer. The project faced vague tender scopes and frequent design revisions with multiple addenda to tender documents, undermining cost control. US-based scholar Tang Mao-Qing said many second and third-tier cities face population declines and are ill-suited for further metro expansion. Nonetheless, local government prioritizes infrastructure to boost GDP and political performance. She recalled repeated demolition and reconstructions of streets, roads, and bridges, noting that such prestige projects overlook economic costs. Ms. Qing Xian, a Shanghai Metro insider, told Radio Free Asia that poor management and corruption are root causes of metro debt. I don't know Shanghai's exact loss, but without government subsidies, they can't operate. Low fares and corruption consumes part of operating costs. Both state and central enterprises follow the same pattern. Reports acknowledge that metros are global money sinks and that losses are not unique to China, but China's context is distinct. The world's first metro, London's Underground, opened in 1863 under private operation and turned a profit through market mechanisms. Today, it remains market-oriented with government subsidies accounting for only a small share of revenue. In contrast, Chinese metros, from construction to operation, are managed almost entirely by state enterprises, lacking competitive market forces. Hong Kong's MTR is one of the few profitable metro systems worldwide. Its rail plus property model generates stable income from real estate development along lines, offsetting operating costs. That model is rare in mainland China due to unique land ownership rules and heavy reliance on government control of real estate. Many cities that attempt to mimic MTR find policy limits or market differences undermine their efforts. Chinese metro companies often lack independent land development rights, so land revenue flow to governments, leaving metro firms sidelined. Japan's metro systems, although government-supported, operate in a highly marketized environment with fares adjusted to cost and demand. Japanese metros also diversify revenue through station retail leases and advertising. These practices remain largely out of reach in China given systemic differences, yet Chinese metros continue running thanks to fiscal subsidies. Among 54 metro cities nationwide, almost none break even on fare revenue alone. Local governments fund metro operations with massive subsidies. In 2024, Chongqing Metro posted a profit of just 20 million yuan but received 8.5 billion yuan in subsidies. Zhengzhou Metro made 100 million yuan in profit yet secured 7.5 billion yuan in support. Even Changzhou, which received the least support, still needs 1 million yuan in fiscal aid. Experts warn that this subsidy approach creates bigger risks. Local governments depend on land sales and taxes, but with a cooling real estate market, budgets remain tight. Ongoing subsidies for metro adds to local debt. Ironically, these subsidies ultimately come from taxpayers. While citizens pay low fares, the rest is quietly paid through their tax money. Metro losses go beyond finances and affect urban development. While metros ease traffic and boost city images, especially in Beijing and Shanghai, their deficit pull heavy strain on local budgets. This often leads to cuts in other public services such as education, healthcare, and elder care. What seems like affordable metro fares actually comes at a cost of these essential services. More worrying is how these losses worsen local debt crises. Many local governments are already approaching debt warning levels, and large metro investment add to the fiscal pressure. If revenues can't keep up, metros risk becoming the final burden that destabilizes local economies. Governments borrow to build metros and rely on land sales to repay debt. But when land sales slow and metros continue losing money, it creates a self-reinforcing cycle. An often overlooked effect is increased social inequality. While low fares seem to benefit everyone, the main beneficiaries are middle and high-income residents in city centers. Suburban and low-income populations often face limited coverage and miss out on the convenience. Yet all taxpayers bear the cost, while benefits skew towards the few. Observers conclude that metro deficits reflect high construction cost, inefficient operations, and systemic problems. Taxpayer money keeps metro running, but it masks poor decisions and wasted resources caused by the government. Metro deficit have become more than just an economic concern.